Welcome to day 2 of InkWeek. These 5 days are the brainchild of Noel DiCunha, the managing editor of Printweek and What Packaging magazines, and his edit team, plus Sudhanva Jategaonkar, B2B business head, Haymarket SAC Publishing India, and his ad sales team. The 5 days celebrate inks and indeed the industry which we love, the print and packaging fraternity, along with more than 30 ink specialists and industry icons. We thank all the A-listers and tech gurus who have agreed to present their thoughts to us. Also, we thank our partners, Ziegwerk and Huber India for their unconditional support to InkWeek. This brings us to today's session, day 2 of InkWeek. My colleagues, Shaman Alexander and Mansi Gupta ran an ink poll. The question, do you feel that access to knowledge and training on ink applications can help you better your services and profitability? 65% said yes, 13% no, 10% maybe, and 13% said it's already happening. 65% say they require training. This is a disproportionately high number, which is why InkWeek, which is why day 2, which is why the marvel and magic of inks. Over the next 2 hours, we will hear one ink industry expert, 3 inkies as the tech persons are fondly addressed, and 2 business owners. The idea is to present ink technology, its place in printing, and whether it provides a way for print and packaging to remain competitive in the landscape. It's a packed schedule. I introduce Debabrata Deb for the keynote address on day 2. Debabrata Deb is a director of Future Formats and a packaging technologist and management expert. An IIM Ahmedabad alumni, Debabrata specializes in everything flexible and sustainability in the flexible packaging process. In the last 15 plus years, Debabrata has created knowledge platforms for the packaging industry with a special focus on efficiency in packaging line integration, high barrier PET for hot filling, and aseptic packaging. Controlling hot melt coating to reduce coating GSM, identifying bio content in plastics, and life cycle analysis, among others. Whenever my colleagues in Printweek and What Packaging have a tech doubt, we call Debabrata Da to get a techno-commercial answer to questions relating to the packaging supply chain. But he has a simple thumb rule. Only one question at a time, he says. Welcome, Debabrata Da.
Thank you, Sriram. Thank you very much. And if I can, I don't know whether this will expand or not.
You are on mute, sir.
Okay, yeah. Can you hear me now? Yes.
Yes, loud and clear.
Thank you, Sriram, for the introduction. And I take pleasure in addressing this August gathering with so much of knowledge from leading companies like Ziegwerk and Huber and others, and many converters, many end users. I would like to focus on 1 or 2 points in this short keynote address. The first is that we live in turbulent times. We have just gone through a COVID pandemic, and now something we never expected, a war. This has created huge problems in the supply chain. My friends from Africa tell me that they source a lot of inks from Europe, and Europe is quoting 6 months lead times for supplying of inks and ink raw materials. You can imagine the kind of global distortions in the supply chain. So one message that is coming out from this is that that ink manufacturer, that converter, and that brand owner will win who associate with new generation suppliers and strengthened existing suppliers to make supply chains resilient to these kinds of shocks. We must be flexible with our supply chains, with our sourcing paradigms, and with our cost controls, with our inventory controls. The days of just in time are over. We have to maintain some degree of inventory. Prices of crude are shooting up. Therefore, prices of solvents, pigments, resins, everything is shooting up. Transportation is dislocated. Transportation costs are going up globally. So if you're importing a certain specialized pigment or a special resin, the prices would have gone up. The rupee is depreciating because the dollar is very strong. So anything you import will be even more expensive. So the first message is these are uncertain days, uncertain times, and you have to be very strong in your sourcing, in your supply chain, in your inventory, and in your order management. So the entire supply chain, from the ink raw material supplier to the ink manufacturer, to the converter, to the brand owner, to the packing center, everything has to work in tandem to succeed. Costs will catch up with you, but you will have to find ways of reducing cost. And here, what will stand you in good stead is first, productivity and lowering wastage. Higher speed and lower wastage will always stand you in good stead. Second is, wherever you are using solvents or even water, you have to have efficiency of drying at high speeds. You'll have to minimize the amount of solvents and the number of solvents in ink systems where you have to do such viscosity control so that you can make viscosity control easier. You can use systems like ink cooling where required to minimize solvent evaporation. And you have to print the design first time right with automation systems so that you do not waste time in setup. You are off and you are completing the run well in time. And this productivity and lower wastage is what will stand you in good stead. You can also think of systems of solvent recovery if you are using solvent-based inks, of having lesser number of solvents, toluene-free, ketone-free, which also facilitate viscosity control, mix of water and solvents, some stations and solvents, some stations with water-based. Whatever you can do to optimize, improving transfer, lowering GSM, work with the designer, with the ink manufacturer, with the cylinder or plate transfer systems to substrate to minimize ink GSM. So this will be the challenge, that to reduce cost, we must look at better productivity because costs will increase. The next point then is also to look at the packaging structures, the packaging designs, and the converting processes so that the total cost can be minimized. Can we lower the print area? Can we lower the ink GSM at the design stage itself, making it simpler? And can we simplify the packaging structures so that they are simpler, there are less number of processes, triple laminates become bilaminates, talking in terms of flexible packaging, and therefore the entire system cost reduction is possible. And finally, while you are doing all this, can you look at biosourcing of ink constituents? For example, India has a huge agricultural base of flowers and biodiversity of plants. Can we source pigments from plants, organic pigments instead of synthetic? The cost increases will be much less. Can we source resins from plants? Can we source solvents from, say, sugarcane, like ethanol? India is making a huge quantity of ethanol from sugarcane. Can we blend in this ethanol into our ink system as solvents and thereby keep a control on the cost because they are agri-sourced? So when we look at the agri components of ink, we may need to do new chemistries, new R&D, but we will probably also increase the income of farmers, at the same time make it more bio-resourced and also the cost to be less volatile. And finally, trying to make structures sustainable, and in the process, making them more cost effective. This is the challenge. And to do this, we have to work as a team. I cannot be Mr. Siegberg, Mr. Huber, and we cannot work in silos. We have to work with our suppliers, many of whom may be common, some may be different. We have to work with new startups. We have to work with smaller companies. We have to work with ink kitchen equipment manufacturers, solvent recovery systems manufacturers, fire safety systems. And if we do that, we will not only contain cost, we'll also be able to give full service to the end consumer. This will also increase our export potential. Globally, because of the disruptions in the supply chain, there are huge markets who are crying for supplies, particularly in Africa. And we will be able to open up quite a big export market if we can give a full range of solutions, a complete set of solutions by working with partners across the supply chain to service those customers. That will also give us economies of scale, the export markets, give us better realizations, and at the same time allow us to moderate cost. So we can then give cost-effective, sustainable, global solutions, which are also bio-resourced, so that they benefit the farming community, and they are a total solution in a kind of way. So this is a new challenge coming from COVID and from the war which is going on, which is getting more dangerous every day. And one thing is certain, that the world going forward in the next decade is going to be a very uncertain world. And we have to create certainty out of uncertainty by coming together, breaking the silos, thinking holistically. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Debabrata, for that analysis of the past and a peep into the future. Many pertinent questions. How can a business remain competitive with the help of inks? What does a good ink system bring to the production process? The types of applications an ink is right for, and importantly, wrong for. What the manufacturers tell you, what the manufacturers don't tell you. On that note, let me invite our first presenter for day 2 of InkWeek, KS Murthy, Deputy Managing Director, Toyo Ink India. KS Murthy is a busy man these days. Toyo Ink India has opened a brand new gravure ink factory at its Gujarat site. A part of the Tokyo-based global specialty chemicals conglomerate, Toyo Ink Group. The new expansion will boost the company's production capacity by more than 5,000 metric tons per annum. One of Murthy's mantra has been safe and compliant products of the highest quality to Toyo's customers. As Murthy shared with my colleague Noel Dicuna in a recent interview, there is a rising demand in India for safer printing inks, in particular for food and beverage, pharma, personal care, and other sensitive applications. We have to ensure and guarantee that at all times. Vanakkam, Mr. Murthy, over to you.
You are on mute.
You're on, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Sriram, for this wonderful introduction. Yeah, and I also would like to, first of all, thank you very much, Deb Dada, for the wonderful keynote address you have given to us today. The message is conveying from the challenges to the current situation, to the innovation, and to the sustainability where we have to head for. First of all, a wonderful thank you once again for this wonderful note to us. So we at Toyo Ink India today, we are glad to participate in today's session, the marvel of magic of inks, the marvel and the magic of inks. We thank you, the entire PrintWeek team, particularly Mr. Ramanathan, for giving this opportunity to express our vision towards innovative solutions and the future of the ink in journey towards sustainability. Today, we will be presenting an overview of innovative solutions in ink, focusing mostly on the sheet fit segment, keeping sustainability as our prime objective. So just let me start with my presentation. What we call the innovative solutions. Today, packaging solutions are created with the spirit of sustainable solutions for the future generation, with the usage of more renewable sources and less energy consumption. Toy products inspires such innovators across the world, providing what the society needs before it needs them. Toying challenges such the global marketplace with such challenges, with the product based on totally new ideas. We at Toyo Innovative Solutions is developing such products, keeping sustainable products like the biomass products and biodegradable products, which is keeping the near future in time. But today we'll be focusing only on a few products on which we'll be presenting today to you. So with this background, let me introduce my colleague, senior colleague, Mr. Ran Vikram Singh, who is our senior manager, who's specialist particularly in the development and product in charge for the sheet fed business. So may I introduce Ran Vikram Singh and take the presentation forward. Thank you.
So, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Murthy, and thanks to Printweb team to give us a chance to talk about innovative solution. In continuation to Mr. Murthy presentation, today I'll speak about innovation. Before starting that, I'll just give a brief introduction about our company. In 2006, we have started our operation in India by selling process color series along with some imported items. In 2008, we have started our Noida offset plant with a capacity of 2,400 metric ton per annum. In 2012, we have again inaugurated and started our gravure plant with a capacity of 1,800 metric ton, which is further expanded to 10,000 metric ton per annum. In 2014, as the sales volume of our offset product increases gradually, we have inaugurated our new plant in Dahej with a capacity of 10,000 metric ton per annum. In 2021, recently, we have expanded our capacity of gravure plant again in our Gujarat plant with a capacity of 6,000 metric ton per annum. Now, if we talk about the volumes, how we grow our production volume in the last 11 years, or in terms of value, how we grow in the last 11 years. So let me just start. In 2010, we have the turnover of around 31 crore per annum, which increases to 585 crore per annum in 2021. In terms of the production capacity, we have 1,217 metric ton of capacity per annum, which increases to 30,000 metric ton capacity in 2021. So now coming to, as today we have the limited time, I will talk about the 3 products suitable for packaging and commercial jobs, which are having their own USP in their respective segment. In this segment, first I'll talk about the commercial ink segment. In that we have the wide gamut ink. The wide gamut ink named as Kaleido inks. The background of the development of this Kaleido ink comes from the exact replication of RGB through 4-color. In simple words, if you see your own photo on your laptop or on your phone, it has a very vibrant, a vivid, and a bright appeal. When you print the same photo through 4-color on your art card, the vividness, the brightness was not that much. Similarly, as earlier, it is quite difficult to achieve a same color gamut of RGB through 4-color printing. I can proudly say we as a Two of India is the first company in India to launch a Kaleido ink, having a wide color gamut that replicate same as Adobe RGB through flow color printing. As you can see on the right side, the graph shows the ISO color space of the LEB values. The red graph shows the Kaleido color gamut. As it is quite visible, the Kaleido color gamut is much more wider color gamut defined by the ISO. Now, if we talk about the application point of view, with Kaleido ink, you can print the designer catalogs having a vivid and wide and vibrant image. It can be used for cosmetic jobs to photographic album, where you need an exact replication of the RGB. If in terms of property, it is having a high strength of vegetable oil basing. When I talk about vegetable oil basing, I talk about eco-friendly ink. We have a broad range available in conventional ink and also UV offset and UV flexo ink. The main USP of Kaleido ink is that out of 1380 Pantone shade, you can replace 970 color shade with this Kaleido ink. You can manufacture 970 color shade. That means 70% of the Pantone shade can be reproduced by using only 4 color. So in the multicolor printing, there's no need to have a 6 color or 7 color machine. No need to have the extra investment in buying a 7 color machine. You can print the same job with 4 color machine by using the Kaleido process color. Especially the blue and violet color, which are far most important, which gives a very vivid, a very bright and very vibrant appeal. You can achieve that color from the Kaleido shade. If we talk about gamut, we should not forget the light fastness, the resistance property of the ink should be as comparable to the conventional ink. So we keep that in mind, and the resistance property and the light fastness property of the Kaleido ink is much, much more stronger than the conventional ink. If we talk about sustainability and environmental aspect, Kaleido contributes to carbon dioxide emission by using a vegetable oil basing. It offers a very high standards of heavy metals. It is in compliance with the heavy metal compliance. It is free from any CMR substances. CMR, if we talk about, it is not having any carcinogenic, any mutagenic, and any substance belongs to the toxic for reproduction category. We have already tried this Kaleido ink in various designer catalog printer of Surat, Ahmedabad, and Bangalore region. Some of them named as Progressive Printer and Faliith Printer in Bangalore. Now coming to the low migration ink, we have a Toe Life Premium series. When we talk about the food packaging, the first thing which came in our mind is the safety and our health. In nowadays, there has been so many regulations imposed not only by the government bodies, but also from the brand owners. With our quality management and with our Life Premium series, we assure you that we will meet all the regulatory and brand owner requirement with Life Premium series. So from the application format, this can be used for external food packaging. It can be used for disposable. When I talk about disposable, it is for paper trays, paper cups, drinking straws, and napkins. It can also be used for pharmaceuticals product. It can be used for sweet boxes as well, where you exactly need the food grading, the low migration ink. If we talk about the properties, it is having a low migration and low order ink. It is in compliance to various regulations generated by the European Commission. It satisfies the need of suicidalness, and it also meets the brand owner Nestle guidelines. It is already a proven product by the third party named as ISEGA. We have the broad range of low migration product from process color to 14 high pigmented base color. The USP of this low migration product is that it is in compliance with the ISO 2846 of color and hue. By meeting this compliance of color and transparency, printer can easily print according to the ISO 12647 standard for graphic offset technology. It is also having a good light fastness property. Why? Because your food might need to be stored in oven, or it might need to be stored in deep freeze. Your food may be any cereals, butter, etc. So your product must have a better resistance to temperature and other ingredient resistance, which is going to be stored in your packing. With Toyo Life Premium series, you can achieve that resistance property along with the other property, which is the light fastness, which is equally important for packaging. From the environmental perspective, it is not having any aquatic or physical hazard which can harm your health. It contributes to CO2 reduction by using a separate, a customized resin technology and the vegetable oil technology. Ink has been recently launched in India. It is already tested in Europe, and we have the plan to produce it locally in India by this year end. Now coming to our next product in the category, it is the FDO New. The FDO New is suitable for rigid packaging, and it is also suitable for various substrate, non-porous substrate. Due to the immense improvement in UV curing speed and stable ink water balance, printing job with heavy solid and different plastic can easily be printed by FDO New inks. From application point of view, as I said, it is mainly designed for tough and rigid plastic. It can be printed on PVC, thermoplastic, and PP. Some main primary packaging examples are credit card, debit cards, liquor carton, cosmetic, where you need a proper adhesion. And with FDO, you can achieve that adhesion. The property, it has the excellent adhesion on plastic materials. Printing has been proven on materials such as PET, PP, PE, and PVC. It has stable ink and water balance. High, good and excellent adhesion on most of the tough and rigid plastic. It is a low VOC product. So hence, it reduces the carbon dioxide emission. It is compliance to UPIA guidelines for printing inks. It does not contain any substance which can cause cancer, mutagenic effect, or toxic photo production. It is also free from PFOA and PFOS substance, which is the persistent organic pollutant. FDO ink has been locally produced in India and running successfully in the client like Popular Card, Color Plast, KL High Tech. Those are using FDO product for high-end jobs. We, as it Toyo Ink India, assure you as your business partner will provide you much more sustainable solution and much more safer solution. It's starting from conventional mineral oil free ink, UV offsetting, UV LED ink to direct food contact water-based coating. In addition to this, in TIJ, we have also developed biodegradable and biomass ink for sustainable and safe packaging. It soon will be launched in India. And thank you once again. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Team Toyo. Excellent learnings about Kaleido ink, especially the processing that reproduces wide color gamut. Also, the sharing about low migration and low odor, compliance with regulations in Europe, and the multiple approvals that are compliant to various ordinances and guidelines. I can actually see one question in my window that asks, is this enough in lieu of the strict ordinances from the Indian regulatory bodies? The question is, are the ink makers lagging behind in the sustainability drive? And what more should ink makers do to catch up? We will take this question up during our Q&A session later. Thank you once again, Team Toyo.
Thank you, Sriram. Thank you.
Thank you. I invite our second presenter for day 2 of InkWeek, Dr. JK Raghav, Vice President Technology, SF and UVNW, Ziegwerk India. Dr. JK Raghav is a distinguished technocrat in the field of inks and coatings at Ziegwerk India. He has a master's and PhD degree in chemistry. He has more than 24 years of combined experience in technology development, industrial R&D management, and leadership. Dr. Raghav has diverse work experience in the broad area of inks and coatings for R&D like radiation cure, oil-based, UVNW, and water-based coatings, global product management, etc. Since joining Ziegwerk India in July 1997, Dr. Raghav was involved in the development of technology solutions for sheet-fed and narrow-web ink, technical varnish, and resin development. Further, he led the Global Innovation Network for the development of new polymers for different applications. Welcome, and over to you, sir.
Yeah.
Dr. Raghav?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you now.
Thank you, Sriram, for the wonderful introduction, and good afternoon to the audience, which are those are connected to virtually. So, and thanks for the whole Print Week team, which has taken a great, taken a great initiative organizing this, the whole week, discussion for the whole week. So I would like to, can I share my screen? Is my
Yes, sir. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Okay. Is it visible?
Yes, it is visible now. Yes.
Sorry. Yeah. So, yeah, as you mentioned, in my eyes, ink is most exciting component for the whole packaging value chain. And during my discussion, I would like to take through the audience and the team the magic of inks, how it innovates, how it leads for the better tomorrow. So, role of the ink in the print and packaging value chain. Can we imagine the life without ink? How it would be? It would be colorless. Printing ink helps to differentiate between two packaging goods and brings the aesthetic appeal and attract consumers towards packaging goods. The magic of inks. What does it mean? The magic of ink is an exploration in the properties of color and light under a variety of the conditions. This is an essential stage in concept art, and that develop the mood and communicates the narrative of the story by means of the visual signals. This is the magic of ink. If you look the contribution, how ink plays the role in whole packaging value chain, ink contributes less than 5% of the total cost. This is my perception. It may be a little bit here and there, but personally, I feel the cost of the ink in the total packaging would be near about 5%. But it is the one of the most impactful and exciting component in print and packaging value chain, since the major value in the packaging from aesthetic and safety aspect come from the inks. If something went wrong with the packaging, packaging carton, then the ink people are the first whom our packaging partners calls. Whether the issue is, whether it's a development, whether it's an issue, so ink people are the first to contact. So therefore, the role of the ink in the print and packaging value chain is most important and most critical. Now, I come to the science of ink and process. I do not have, the product range like Ran Vikram and the team Toyo has presented, but I would like to focus a little bit on the science of the ink and process. What does it mean? Ink is not a colorimetric aspect. We just consider ink as a colorimetric aspect. This is just ink, just impart the color, but it is not the colorimetric aspect. Ink is a perfect blend of the chemistry and engineering, with which required in-depth understanding of formulations and analysis while following the various parameters. What does it mean? It means the ink industry, the people who are working in the ink industry, we must understand customer requirement. We should not design the ink. We should not just proud to have the ink in the lab, which is looking good in terms of the gloss, in terms of the rheology. We cannot proud of this. We need to look into the customer requirement, what is needed. We need to start looking up from the application point of view, what for application ink being used. We need to look into the regulatory aspect. Then we need to define the testing protocols, which is close, which can translate the machine performance and the print performance at the time of the designing. So for this, the raw material selection, if we start from the raw material selections, which consisting reagents, pigment, oils, and additive, and define the testing protocol in a way which can correlate the performance in terms of the press renewability, print quality, and post-printing requirement. As I mentioned, one should not feel proud to see the lab results, but need to ensure to fulfill the requirement of our packaging partners. I'm an inking. I'm working with the in organization almost 25 years. And I have seen, evolution of the testing protocols, how the protocols defined, but still I feel there is a lot of gap, which we need to, or which can tell us the exact performance of the ink, or can correlate the exact performance of ink from the machine. So this is my personal feeling actually, is still people are following the traditional testing protocols, which is viscosity, tag, gloss, ink water balance. And ink water balance, we are following the traditional method like Duke, Lithotech, like this. But have we thought of to introduce something new, which can tell most of the things by, analyzing the data in one go? There in the right hand side, I don't want to explain here, but right hand side, the data is available there, the graphs. By analyzing this graph, if one can analyze this graph, he can ensure 90% performance with the inputs from this graph. So here I would like to move the next slide. Necessity is the mother of invention, and creativity is the core, which is driven by the pain areas or key challenges. I was listening, thank you, Mr. Debabrata. He has mentioned, very valid point actually. He mentioned about the lower wastage. Wastage is one of the, key challenge, and higher speed. What our packaging partners are looking for. And he also touch upon the point of the inventory control, reduce VOC content, supply security, bio-sourcing, and etc. So it is, I would like to say, what are the challenges in the packaging partners? The productivity. Everybody want to enhance their productivity. They want to utilize their machine with their rated capacity. They all want to reduce the startup wastage. Everyone want to get the higher mileage using the one product. Everyone want to, that's what the productivity. Robust ink system. Currently, our packaging partners are using the many ink systems to meet their different application requirement. Can we help to designing a robust ink system which can perform in the different climatic conditions, which can perform on the different type of machines at the maximum rated speed? Portfolio rationalization. This is to reduce the inventory. How we can minimize, how we can harmonize the product portfolio so that our packaging partners need not to have the various product for the various applications. They can utilize the best one product for the various applications. Safety and compliance. Everybody is talking. The safety and compliance is one of the most important criteria nowadays. So our product should be safe. Sustainability. Everybody is talking about the sustainability. And my previous speaker, Ran Vikram, also touched upon the sustainability point and the supply security. Supply security in this last 1.5 years has been very critical, not from the not from the cost point of view and the availability point of view as well. Due to this COVID and worldwide raw material crisis, demand fluctuation, supply chain continuity has been key challenge. SIGWA ensure the supply in that tough time. SIGWA ensured uninterrupted supply to our valued customers. Now, I have been seeing, the many talks, or let's say discussion about growing awareness of safety. So I don't have the complete product range, but I would like to explain what is the emerging market trend. So emerging market trend, in my eyes, is product safety and sustainability. How we can offer or support the packaging chain in these two aspects. One is the product safety. What is the product safety? Now, if you see, worldwide the focus on customer safety, and we at SIGWA are fully committed to this with product basket to meet the various compliances requirement like IS 15495, Swiss ordinance, Nestle compliance, UPI exclusion policy, TASCA, etc., etc. In very recently, in that direction, to meet this product safety, we have launched the Vega product range, which is mineral oil free range. So from the 1st of May, we are going to stop manufacturing of mineral oil based ink in our factory. And the Vega range, it consists of 4 process colors and the 2 base color series. Currently, I have seen many series with all the ink manufacturers whosoever they are following 12 to 15 process color, many base colors. Sigwork has rationalized its product portfolio with the 6 series for process color and 2 base color series. And this Vega product range is free from mineral oil, and it is very good in terms of product performance. What I mean from the product performance is these inks, since these are a vegetable oil-based ink system, which is having the fastest drying and setting speed, which helps to improve the productivity, as it also have wider ink water valency window. Since these inks are 100% solid, therefore the startup wastage is very, very less, or I would say it is, we have just done some of the validation. We noticed the startup wastage with the Vega, using the Vega series, reduced 30 to 35%. This is, the proven data. We have conducted the exercise at the various places. The next is the migration optimized inks. Sigwork do have the complete range, but we do not have the many products. We have one product in the conventional offset, which named as Tempo NutriPack, and in the UV segment, or I would say the radiation curable segment, is Secura NutriPlus. Now I'm come to the sustainability. The entire world is moving from linear to circular economy by using 3R concept. What are the 3R concept? Reduce, reuse, recycle. To cast the way forward for coming generation, this is of utmost priority for every one of us. We at Sigwork follow this campaign rigorously, making it a pillar for our day-to-day activities and offer the solution. Shifting from traditional UV to LED ink is one of the great initiative, I would say, which I see in the direction to save the energy. Barrier coatings is another great example to reduce the plastic layers from packaging. Shift from traditional matte pad to combination printing on the coated board. Since there are stalwarts available in this seminar or the webinar, we know there are many brand owners, they want to save from matte pad to board. So Sigwork has the complete solution to meet this requirement. So this is a combination of silver and radiation curable ink on top of that. And this is, renewable content, since Mr. Debabrata also mentioned the point, biosourcing or renewable content. The Vega, design of the Vega series is one step, it's a very, good step to increase the renewable content in the ink formulation, since this series consists more than 60% of renewable content. It is between 60 to 70%, and it is VOC free. Therefore, we can call this series is the most safest series. So if I would like to summarize from the safety and sustainability point of view, we are committed to meet the requirement, product safety and sustainability, and we are focusing more and more on the compliance inks, mineral oil free inks, migration optimized inks, and our next step is to lead the LED inks and low energy inks to replace this conventional UV inks. So these are, SIGWORK efforts or initiatives to support sustainability and product safety. Thank you. This is from my side. If any questions?
Thank you so much, Dr. Raghav. I must say your presentation requires serious introspection. Lots and lots of ink technologies available, but are the sheet-fed and narrow web stakeholders aware of the science of inks and the rheology that governs it? Dr. Raghav, the tech expert in you has underscored one thing: machine performance plus testing protocols. We cannot have a poor understanding of what we deploy. It is time to move from short-term fads to long-term innovation planning and analyze the data. I hope we continue with these sessions through customized and specialized knowledge sharing masterclass sessions for different verticals. How to extract better performance from the machines. Plus, how to make the shift from MedPet to board with the Viga. Thank you once again, Dr. Raghav.
Thank you very much.
I now invite our third presenter for day 2 of InkWeek, Faliith Pandyaa, the Managing Director of Print Vision. Anyone who has visited his plant in Ahmedabad will be impressed with one thing: passion for print. Along with 3D lenticular printing, the company specializes in high-end rigid boxes and monocartons. But what Faliith Pandyaa loves most is the freedom to experiment with new technologies, materials such as paper and ink, plus the ability to explore different facets of the industry. He has a BSc in printing technology and printing management from the Ferris State University, Michigan, USA. Plus, he is the young president of the Ahmedabad Printing Press Association from 2019 to 2022. Welcome, and over to you, Faliith.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to be here, and it's really an honor to be sharing this platform with all the stalwarts of the industry. Without further ado, I would like to start my short presentation. Is it visible?
Yes. Your screen is visible. Yes.
All right. So I'm coming from a different perspective into this conversation. Being a printer myself, what is the type of inks that we use, and how we have recently used the inks that I'm about to show you to create some value for our customers. So recently there were two jobs where we have used these two different types of inks. One is water reactive ink and one is light responsive ink. I'll get into the details about what exactly this is and what are the benefits of it and what can be achieved through it. So the water reactive ink is applied via screen printing, currently available only in white. And this is a limiting factor that we are facing right now, because not all applications require white. They require multiple colors also. So this is something that we are working with the suppliers to get out of it. The basic concept is that the ink has the white color when it is not in contact with water. Once it is in contact with water, it becomes transparent. So it is kind of a wet and reveal kind of a concept, where once you apply water, whatever is printed below this particular ink becomes visible. The biggest advantage that this offers is it brings certain level of interactive experience with the print media. And many of our customers today want that. Everybody has been printing LBLs and same old things for years now. And there are customers who want to achieve something different, where the end user has an experience with a particular printed product, which then gives them a lasting memory for the same. So this is a video as to how exactly it works. This is just water. So the invisible ink reacts to water. And once the water has dried up, the ink will come back to its original form. On the right hand side, you can see the image of how it will look once the ink has dried. This is one. Next is the light responsive ink, again applied through screen printing. In the nascent state, this ink is pretty much invisible. There are certain changes that we do need to make to the artwork to make sure it remains as invisible as possible. So that is upon to each printer to decide how to get about it. The idea is that once a photograph is taken with the flash on pointing towards the printed media, in the photograph, because of the flash, the invisible ink becomes visible. And that is the whole idea behind it. Once again, this is used from the perspective of making it interactive with the end user. I don't have a video for this, so I'll share a photograph of this. On the left hand side, if you see, this was a calendar which we had done. Sardar Patel's statue of unity is visible, whereas on the right hand side image it is not visible. So these are the same pages. One is with the flash on with the camera, any regular camera of your mobile will work, and the other one is without it. So again, trying to create some kind of a effect, special effect, and also in this case create a large impression onto the customer's mind. And one added benefit is that once the photograph is taken, the product branding goes along with their in their phone's memory as well. Now, why? We recently got into packaging, but before that, primarily we were into commercial printing, and there was a certain level of laziness that had come into my organization, myself, and everybody involved, because it was the same old thing that we were doing again and again. And that is when we decided to get into different types of materials, whether it is media, whether it is inks, whether it is hand fabrication, to offer something different to the customers. In doing so, we also found that we were creating certain value for them, for which there was good amount of money we could charge them. Eventually, everything is about that. So that's why we have written creating value per sheet instead of counting cost per sheet. So we wanted to move out of this whole cost per thousand, etc., where and offer something to the customer where cost of printing was immaterial. It was the concept and the idea which had a cost associated with it. And this is how these two inks allowed us to achieve this. That's it from my side. Appreciate and thank you for your time.
Thank you for that show and tell, Faliith. I love the water reactive ink, especially the end user seeks an interactive experience. Likewise, the light reactive inks, which enable wonderful creation of solution with embellishment solutions and applications, plus how to deploy printing ink methods to enhance the brand. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
I now invite our fourth presenter for day 2 of InkWeek, Prasanta Sarkar, General Manager, Technical Sheet-Fed Inks, Huber Group, India. Prasanta Sarkar is an MTech in Polymer Science from Calcutta University. He has printing ink industry experience of more than 25 years with expertise in sheet-fed inks and water-based coatings. He has in-depth knowledge of raw materials and also the application processes. A well-traveled person, familiar with global standards and global trends at his current role at Huber Group, he looks after product development and technical servicing. A respected figure among his German colleagues, where he is part of the global product development team for sheet-fed inks. Prasanta Sarkar has developed innumerable products for domestic and international markets. Prasanta Sarkar will speak about food-safe inks for direct food contact.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Siram, and good afternoon to all of you. So let me first share my screen with all of you. Just a moment. Yeah, can you please confirm whether it's visible or not?
Yes, sir, your screen is visible.
So let's dive in first. So today my topic is food safe ink for the direct food contact. Just a moment, yes. So in this presentation, I will touch upon the following points one by one: the journey towards excellence, interaction between the packaging and the food stuff, which are packed inside, different legislation which are followed for the development of the direct food contact inks, that is DFC inks from Hoover Group, and the various migration testing process that we followed for the development of this kind of product. Third point, where we should use the direct food contact ink and where we should use the standard low migration and the low order type of inks. The various properties of the direct food contact inks, the range of products and their applications, and the compliances. So this is journey towards excellence. If you look at the printing industry in India, which is evolving towards more safe and sustainable way, and that is why more and more printing ink companies actually offering the products which are mineral oil free, cobalt free, and also PTFE wax free. Now let's see the Hoover Group position for the development of such kind of safe and the sustainable product in India for highly talented Indian printers. Hoover Group always believes in providing today's printer with the tomorrow's solution. In fact, our journey started quite long back in 2007 when we introduced the first range of new product based on incredible technology. It is a joint venture between that time the Micro Inks and the Hoover Group. And in that product basket, there are many products which are completely free from mineral oil. And when within the Hoover Group, when we say that the inks are mineral oil free, we really mean it. And none of our mineral oil free ink contains the mineral oil even a single % as a part of the formulation. So that kind of purity we maintain in the production process. Now then in 2016, a whole host of new products added with the existing product basket. Some renowned products like the Packaging Plus, the CRS system. These are not only the mineral oil free, but also the cobalt dryer free and PTFE wax free. The PTFE is also a component which is not good for sustainable product development. So we decided to eliminate the PTFE from all our existing mineral oil free formulation approach. At the same time, we also introduced a range of products which are suitable for low migration and low order application for the safe and sustainable food packaging. In 2019, our GMP compliant production facility for the food safe ink started at Silvassa in India. So we are no longer importing the MGA products from Germany. We have in fact the complete production facility in India in Silvassa, where from we are also supplying the inks to our other location located at various parts of the world. And in that regard, we have three very distinguished product line. One is called the MGA Natura, which is applicable for all different kind of food packaging, and printing will be done on the paper board. Then we have the product of similar category that is called MGA Corona, which is exclusively used for the tobacco packaging on the offset printing process. And then we also have a series, same type, low migration, low order type, and that is suitable for printing on non-absorbent stock. And now the latest one, in our kitty, that is the direct food contact ink. And this is the very first time somebody or some company in India actually providing this kind of print solution to the Indian printers. And our brand for the direct food contact ink is MGA Contact. So Hoover Group is always ahead of time. Now let us see what are the possible interaction possible between the packaging material and the food stuffs which are packed inside. Now, if you look at the pictures, there are two pictures in fact here, and that describes the two different possibilities. In the first case, the printing ink is used on the air facing side of the food packaging. That is the case of a regular low migration and low order type of inks. And the second one, where the blue layer you can see, which is in direct contact with the cookies, that is the printing ink layer, and that is the case of the direct food contact ink, DFC ink, offered by the Hoover Group India. And in both the cases, the migration can take place from both the ink as well as the paper or board layers. Now, in case of direct contact inks, there is one more possibility, that is the reverse transmission, where some of the low molecular weight components of the food item, like the ghee, butter, or fat, or some flavoring components, may lead to the bleeding or smudging of the ink. And this is the typical case of French fries boxes. Many times you can see that when you are taking out the French fry from not properly designed the box, where you can also see some stain of the ink on the French fry box. Now, these are the different legislation that we followed at the various stages of product development, starting from the raw material selection to the product designing, to the process standardization, and eventually to validate the formulation that we adopted for the direct food contact ink. So the first one is the framework regulation. This is the most important food regulation so far European countries are concerned, and this is called also the mother of all regulation for food packaging. The second one is the GMP regulation, good manufacturing practice regulation. This is applicable for all the different components which are used in the packaging development of the food product, and which is covered in the framework regulation. The plastic regulation, all the plastic items and the articles that will be in direct contact with the food product, either in pure form or in the form of printed material, are covered under this plastic regulation. And this is one of the most important regulation for the ink manufacturer, because in the framework regulation, there is no definite chapter available either for the printing ink or for the paper board. So whatever idea we need to get in terms of the raw material selection, we are
Sriram, I think we've lost Mr.
Yeah,
Sarkar.
standard low
Yeah,
migration.
Mr. Sarkar is back. Dada, I think you'll have to repeat a bit. We lost you for about a minute. So
From the first one, should I repeat?
I think that'll be better because you were
Okay,
talking.
fine.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah. Thank you.
So the first one is the framework regulation. That is, I can say, the mother of all food regulation applicable in the European food laws. And this is related to the development of the packaging material for food stuff. And unfortunately, there is no specific chapter available in the framework regulation for ink and paper and board, but there are specific chapter available for the plastic, regenerated cellulose ceramics. The second one is the GMP regulation, good manufacturing practice. This is applicable for all the various components which are used during the development of the packaging material for foodstuff. Plastic regulation, this is all the plastic items or articles that will be in touch with the foodstuff, either in the form of printed or in virgin form. And this is one of the most important regulations for the ink manufacturer, because the basic guideline of raw material selection, we get it from the plastic regulation. There is a positive list available here with the SML limit, specific migration limit, and that we follow particularly for selection of the raw material. Very recently, the German ordinance on the printing ink, it is commissioned only last year, December, and complete implementation will happen in next 4 years time. And here also there is a positive list of the evaluated substances for direct food contact ink designing, and of course the US FDA. Now, let us see what are the different migration tests that we carry out to ensure our product safe for direct food application. There are large number of food product available, and for that we need to design the suitable packaging material. Now, it is almost impossible to take individual food item and do the migration risk assessment. But this problem is very easily addressed in the plastic regulation, where the entire food product is divided into 6 different food types. And for each type, there is a special food simulant. Say, for example, for the aqueous foodstuff having the pH value above 4.5, the ethanol 10% is used as a food simulant. Similarly, for the acidic foodstuff, for the pH value of the foodstuff is below 4.5, acetic acid 3% used as a food simulant, and so on and so forth. The last one that is also very important, that is for the dry and the fatty food and the high temperature application. There, the Tenax is used as a food simulant. Tenax is very, the heat stable and the porous material, and that is normally used for dry and fatty food material for the migration risk assessment in lab. And the greatest advantage of this food simulant is that these are very consistent. You will get always a very consistent result, and results could be compared, which is not possible if you take the individual food item to check the migration test. Now, as we have more than one option available to select from for the suitable inks for your food packaging, now we need to decide, or we need to understand where we should use the normal low migration and low order type of inks, and where you should use the direct food contact ink. This is a very important slide to understand the difference between the low migration, low order standard inks and the direct food contact ink. So in any case, when there is no possibility of direct contact between the food item and the packaging material means the ink layer, there is no need to use the direct food contact ink type. The normal standard MGA Natura or MGA Corona or MGA label should be fine for those applications. Even when you are using the printing ink on the inner side of the packaging material of the food stuff, still there is no need to use the direct food contact ink, provided there is a barrier layer in between the food item and the ink layer, and that barrier layer could also be a paper. So in that case also, there is no necessity of using direct food contact inks. Certain examples like prowling packaging where the leads are printed on the inside and there is a paper or film on the prolines. Packaging where the food is not in direct contact with the ink layer but has a common air space. So they are also normal, low migration, low order, MGA natural type of inks are fine. Now where you actually need to use the direct food contact inks, the DFC inks from the Hoover group. There are two possibilities, prominent possibilities. In the first case, the dry and the fatty foods, the storage condition is very extended, 1 to 2 years, and the storage temperature is room temperature. Say for example, chocolates, packaging, jelly beers, sugar coated confectionery, tea, unpeeled and uncut vegetables or fruits. For such kind of packaging, you must use the direct food contact ink. The another possible area of application of the direct food contact ink, here the exposure time is relatively less, 30 minutes, but the temperature is much higher, 70 degrees centigrade. So this is the typical case of French fries boxes and table tray where there is a possibility of direct food contact with the printing ink layer. So in this application, you must consider of using the direct food contact ink because the normal low migration and the low order ink will not meet all the regulatory requirements for this kind of food product. Now let us see the properties of our DFC inks, which is called as MGA contact inks. These inks are designed for the direct food contact. And if the printing is done from the inside the packaging material, which will be in direct contact with the food stuff, and printing will be on paper and board, for those application, you must use MGA contact ink, which is designed for direct food contact applications. And in that case, for the dry and fatty food, where the 10x is assigned as a simulant, for example, chocolate, jelly beer, sugar-coated confectionery, tea, unpeeled and uncut vegetables. And the maximum ink coverage is 1 gram per meter square. So we considered that overall ink grammage on the printed surface will be not more than 1 gram per meter square. Irrespective of whether it is a single color job or multicolor job, the total ink that will be used on the surface for the printing, it is 1 gram per meter square. And if you maintain all these parameters, then it will definitely fulfill the requirement of overall migration limit of 10 milligram per decimeter square of printed area or 60 milligram per kilogram of packed food in 6 decimeter square of the printed box in the form of cube. So that is mentioned in the plastic regulation. So if you follow the basic norms in the printing, the GMP and all these things with our DFC ink, it will definitely fulfill the regulatory requirement as mentioned in the plastic regulation. It is also meet US FD and the framework regulation. And above all, it will also give you excellent organoleptic properties. The odor, the taste, the color and the physical appearance, all these parameters put together is called the organoleptic properties of the food item. So if you use the DFC ink, you will get the excellent organoleptic properties. Some additional properties of MGA contacting. We have the complete range of product available with us. That is the process colors as well as the extended color gamut inks. So process color means the yellow, magenta, cyan, and black. and plus 3 additional colors, orange, green, and violet. These are also ready for immediate use. I will also show you in my subsequent slides that all the inks available in the DFC having the highest resistance property in terms of light fastness or all different kind of solvent and chemical resistance properties. High printing performance on offset sheet fed presses, use of established raw material with already verified offset suitability. Now here I will explain a little bit in more detail because there are many natural colorants are also available, and ideally those colorants are also suitable for this kind of direct contact. But unfortunately, all these natural colorants, although these are very safe for food application, but offset behavior of those colorants are not very good. So we have designed or selected the raw materials which are not only safe for the direct contact, but at the same time, all the products have the proven offset printability. Very fast setting and the absorbent substrate on the absorbent substrate, and finishing with suitable water-based coating is essential because all the direct food contact inks dry by simple absorption process. There is no oxidative component in the formulation of the DFC ink. And because of that, you need to use inline water-based coating. Without water-based coating, you can't use the DFC kind of inks. Now let us see the color gamut. As I said, there are a lot of restrictions for the selection of the raw materials, and that is also included for the colorants. There are many colorants that we use in general purpose offset application, process colors or Pantone colors or any special color system, or the standard low migration and low order process color system like MG and Natura could not be used for direct food contact application. And because of that, you are left with a limited choice wherefrom you have to select the pigments or colorants. And because of that, you will not get the best color gamut in the 4 color space. In fact, the MGA Natura and the ISO standard series will give you almost the similar color space, whereas DFC ink will give you little lower color space in 4 color printing landscape. But this problem could easily be addressed if you add 3 more colors. So that is with the extended color gamut version, where the orange, green, and violet are added along with CMYK, and with that 7 color system, you can generate almost similar area in the color space, which is otherwise not possible in the 4 color system. And this also will reduce the dependency on the special colors, because there are many colors that we use in Pantone and special color systems are not suitable for the direct food contact application. So this extended color gamut will give you the complete solution for the packaging printers who look for the vibrant color reproduction for the packaging purpose. So these are the inks: yellow, magenta, cyan, black, orange, green, and violet. And if you look at the properties, the light fastness and all the resistance property towards different chemicals, alcohol, alkali, and nitrocellulose solvent system, these are all the plus, and the light fastness values are also to the highest level possible. So these are the product already available in our basket, but currently we are not manufacturing these inks in India. So if somebody wants these inks, it will be directly imported from Germany. As I said that the DFC ink could not be run without inline water-based coatings. So these are the complementary water-based coatings which are also available with us. Now, if you look at the total application matrix which are ready rightly, if you move across from left to right in the table, you will see the different food types. So the dry and fatty food, vegetables, fruits, unpeeled, uncut, fast food, liquid food, and cut vegetable and fruits. And also different storage condition. So the first one is the retention time maximum 2 years. Second one is maximum 14 days. And as you move down from top to bottom, you will see the different products. So currently, the MGA contact inks, which passed all the different migration testing. So that means these inks are suitable for all different food types and different storage condition. But only thing, the basket of water-based coating is not yet complete, but we are working on this project, and we are expecting that complete portfolio will be ready at the earliest. So then you can have the complete solution for direct food contact application, all different types available in the market. Now the inks are ready, and if you want to use these inks on the printing machine, you also need to follow certain good manufacturing practices. Otherwise, this will lead to the non-compliance of the packaging material, even though you are using the highest quality or the highest, the purest quality ink, that is the MGA contact. So we always recommend to use the dedicated press. So this is always a preferred one if you have a dedicated setup, but most of the time this is not possible because you need to work with the regular purpose ink and at the same time the direct food contact ink. So if that is the situation, then you need to adopt a very rigorous cleaning process, and particularly the rollers, blanket, the varnish pipes must not be contaminated. Thorough cleaning with the dedicated suitable cleaning agents are recommended, and make sure there is no contamination of wash-up solution. Use of suitable fountain solution is important. You can't use the normal fountain solution that you are using for general purpose printing, for commercial or general packaging printing. So you have to use specialized the fountain solution which are designed along with the MGA contact. So our group will also supply this kind of material. Suitable water-based coatings are also important, that I already explained. Use only recommended auxiliaries. So all the other auxiliaries like spray powder, the cleaning aids, system cleaner, it must be of the purest form, and only the recommended auxiliaries to be used. Never add the dryer or the drying accelerator because these inks are completely dryer free and dries absolutely by absorption process. So there is no need to add any dryer to make the drying process faster. Don't use any anti-dryer also. And if you want to mix any ink of MGA contact, it should be mixed only with the MGA contact type. You cannot mix any general purpose ink, even the normal low migration or low order type of ink, MGA Natura, with the MGA contact. So MGA contacting should be mixed only with MGA contact type of leftover ink, and use always the clean equipment. So this is all about the direct food contact. This is a very new topic, particularly for the Indian audience. So I expect a lot many questions from your side. So you can ask whatever doubt you have in your mind. If not possible today, I am available anytime offline. So you can ask. Thank you very much for your patience listening. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Prasanta Sarkar. First of all, congratulations to Huber about the launch of MGA Contact. I think the presence of direct food contact inks and coatings is good news. One question which I can see is, what is the standard age of these sustainable inks? Also, your slide on the stringent global legislations was useful. For the benefit of our delegates, I'd like to inform you that Dr. K. Arulanand of FSSAI will be presenting on day 5, 25th March. He's also attending today's session. Welcome, sir. In addition to an update on FSSAI notifications, Dr. Arulanand will also be answering a set of questions from the food packaging industry. If you have any queries for him, please share on the chat window, which we'll hope to get the answers from on day 5. So please join us on day 5 for those answers if you have any questions. Thank you once again, Prasanta Sarkar. I invite our 5th presenter for today, Indore-based. Rohit Badlani is the director of MB Industries, who has been in the news for setting up a flexible printing business, UV Biz. MB Industries has been a contract manufacturer for popular FMCG brands for over 25 years, producing export-based varieties of 3,000 tons of biscuit and 5,000 tons of atta per month at its 2 plants in the food city of India. Besides, Indore was becoming a hub, one for confectionery and the other namkeen products, which were growing in terms of varieties, but in relatively smaller quantities. In 2018, Rohit was looking for something that would plug the gap for smaller, flexible packaging requirements, as well as help the company to create a niche business which could serve both the big as well as new smaller brands. From a packaging perspective, top brands have one SKU requiring long runs. However, there are at least 10 smaller brand extensions SKUs attached to this big SKU. This is how the industry operates, says Badlani. Rohit will share his insights on how to produce volume for packaging for the big brands. Plus, share his feedback for the ink makers. How can they help future-proof the packaging business? Welcome, Rohit, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Sriramji, for the introduction. We are an Indore-based manufacturer. We are the latest entrant to the packaging industry with a small flexo machine in place. Our core business is biscuits and atta. We are connected with bigger brands like Parle and ITC for both of these requirements. And very recently, we have ventured into packaging. We will finish our 2nd financial year in March now. And there are a lot of things that we have done differently as per the industry standards. All the previous presenters here were mainly from the sheet fed segment. And we are also sometimes categorized as one of those because we use a similar system, which is predominantly used only in the sheet fed market. But we have taken this system and adopted it and are taking it to the flexible packaging space. We had started our journey with a boxed machine, and when we started this journey, we had no idea of how printing was ever done. We had used laminates for years and years, but had no clue of how things were made. And I believe this was a blessing in disguise because that has helped us in adopting a system which we understand that many companies in the country have tried and tried, but unfortunately, due to standardization of most of the systems, they have failed in this. This system of using 7 fixed colors of producing or reproducing any color on the gamut is what we do day in, day out for our flexible packaging vendors. And we help them in achieving short-run flexible packaging jobs, which were earlier not possible. In this space, we bridge the gap between the digital presses versus the gravure presses. The production range on a digital presses is generally limited to 5 to 10 or maximum to 20 kgs, or in in a very exclusive space, they go for volumes. Otherwise, this is the space they generally cater to. And the gravure ones start from the 500 kg segment, 500 and plus. So we have been able to bridge this gap very successfully through our system, and ink vendors. Our ink vendors are SIGWork, and they have been helping us throughout this journey from day one in initiating this process. It was a struggling phase initially in replicating something which was previously done on sheet-fed machines and now being done on a flexo. This was a difficult task, which was taken as a challenge by our partner SIGWork, and we are successfully doing it for the past 2 years. Through this system, like our earlier speaker, Debabrata sir said, that there are three main challenges to in the current world that we face is supply chain disruption, cost, and efficiency. And we very well are able to take on all these three challenges head on during these times. When we stably started the process in January of 2020, nobody knew that COVID was around the corner. As soon as COVID hit us, we were also, a very new entrant, did not have much business, and were trying to just juggle through what was available. And the flexibility our ink system had provided us. We use a UV-based ink system, like most of the sheet-fed fellow printers on a flexo press. And this system has helped us in giving us the flexibility of, we started with the idea of doing flexible packaging. Then we had to suddenly, labels were in very high demand due to sanitizers and other safety-oriented products picking up on the shelves. So all the challenges of supply chain, cost, and efficiency were met very well during this time, because we use only 7 colors of inks in our system. We don't have an 8 color. 8 is, yes, obviously we have white, but we don't have a 9th color of ink in our system. We use the standard CMYK, orange, green, violet, and white. As earlier Raghav sir said that the necessity is the mother of invention, and creativity has to be at its core. So we partnered with Bobst, and we found a necessity that we used to manufacture a lot of export-based SKUs with our customers, Parle and ITC. And what happened was that generally, when this process of export starts, the packaging material has to be planned in advance, because you could not wait for the cylinders to be made and then printing to be done and then delivering to the factory, then product being made and dispatched. So brands could not wait that long, or neither the customer was interested in waiting that long. And the process was generally approximately 50 to 55 days in that time. So we were able to cut down this process to 7 days, and we have been successfully doing it. The fastest we have ever gone is 3 days, when we were in Gulf Food last in 2020, and one of the brand owners, very well known, everybody must have seen them, Rasna Limited. They came up with the idea that we have a customer who's present at Gulf Food, and he wants his material before Eid arrives in April. This was in February 2020. So we said that yes, it is possible, and we have the capability and the capacities to help you serve your customers. And from Gulf Food, he ordered his procurement manager in sitting out of Ahmedabad, that this gentleman Rohit Badlani is sitting in front of me. He'll be reaching Indore on Thursday night, and you should be in his factory on Friday morning. The Gulf Food would extend till Sunday, so you should be in his factory on Friday morning, and you should be getting the material printed and see that everything is in place and everything is as per our standards. Since we were and we are a BRC FSSC 22000 and a SMETA 6 certified organization from the very starting point of it, it was an easy task to having a customer invited over, and it was good for business. So when he came on Friday morning and we sent him, got the files in hand and started printing by afternoon. So he felt amazed that how is this possible? Generally, people don't do it that way, and they wait for inks, they wait for our brand color orange, and they need those greens for the this, and there is always a waiting time for everything. But the process of using the fixed color gamut system via SIGWork has helped us in gaining a lot of orders during these difficult COVID times as well, where people were focusing. It was not only that the urgency of demand was there, but people were slowly, a lot of small players were also coming up in the market. So people were very conscious about their brand, their own branding, their brand colors, and how they put themselves in the market. So these were many challenges that we were able to conquer during this time. I have no presentation to show for it, that how it is done, because you cannot see it. When you see it eye to eye, it does not make any difference if it is printed through an ECG system or a spot color based regular system. But you would have to go into detail with eyeglass and everything to understand that yes, this is something different. There are a lot of myths associated with this process of printing. That how do you match the brand colors? What are the your ink consumption would be always on the higher side. What do you do? So there are a lot of advantages to it. On the contrary, that we feel compared to any fellow printer that is in this space, where we see that people have lots and lots of inventory of inks, of spot colors, which are used only once or twice in their lifetime, and then the buckets are kept idle for ever and ever. And we see that we have got a fast moving inks solution, where we don't have inks that are older than a month. With SIGWorks facility in Bhiwadi, they have been of exceptional help to us in this time. And on top of that, it helps us in improving our productivity to a large extent, where we don't have to wait for our NLOXs to be washed. We don't need our machine to be cleaned before moving from one job to another. Our changeover time is as low as 20 seconds. And we do it day in, day out. It is not just that I would, we have 150 participants in this together today. And I would like to invite all of you to come over and see it live, that how changeover happens within 20 seconds on a flexo press, moving from one job, maybe as complicated as an 8 or 10 color job, to another 10 color job within 20 seconds. And this is what we have been able to achieve with help of our ink partners and their very consistent supply all through this while. I would like to thank Print Week for giving me opportunity time and again to be presenting my case and the difference that we have been able to create in this industry. Thank you so much, Print Week.
Surely, Rohit, thank you. Interesting insights in how to grow the business, how to increase production in volume, plus boost your values while still reducing inefficiencies. That is great to hear. Thank you once again. Let me jump right into questions that we have. And the first one is for Rohit. You said the ink vendors are lagging behind in the sustainability drive and they should catch up. A polite query for you, Rohit. Has your views altered a bit after hearing today's presentations, or you still think they need to do more?
I still believe, we are in that space. Most of the sheet fed printers and everybody is in that space of paper, where, paper is already a recyclable material, and they're, the ink vendors are safe and secure that way. But when you go to the flexible packaging space or the label space, I believe there is a difficult ask for them, because my opinions are not yet altered. I would, attend all of this Print Week sessions to understand if there are more things happening which I don't know of.
Surely, there are 3 more days of Ink Week left, Rohit. We hope to see you. in the next 3 days? Yeah. So we had 3 new ink launches announced today. Low migration ink from Toyo, to Vega from Ziegwerk, and the MGA contact from Huber. The question to all 3 of you is, what is the cost as compared to regular inks?
Should I start first?
Sure, please.
Yeah. Basically, if you look at the usage of this MGA contact, this is a highly specialized kind of product, and almost 90% of your requirements will be fulfilled by the normal standard low migration and low order type of inks. And only a very small part is there for the direct food contact ink. And this is, and as I said, that the selection of the raw materials are the most critical parameters for designing this kind of product. And almost 90% of general purpose raw material we can't use for the direct contact application. So cost wise, it is much higher than normal low migration or low order type of inks. Right now, exact figure I don't have, but it is substantially higher than the normal low migration, low order type of ink.
Got it. Dr. Raghav, Mr. Murthy, do you have answers? And I think all our panelists can turn on their cameras, so that, because this is going to be a discussion now, the questions from the audience and the few that we have from the edit team. Is Mr. Murthy still around?
Yeah, he's there.
Yes.
All right, fine.
He has arrived.
Yes, okay, great. Yes, so Dr. Raghav and Mr. Murthy, the question is still there for you in terms of the cost against regular inks.
Yeah, can I take the question for about the Vega?
Sure, yes, please.
Okay, let me take it. So the Vega range, actually, if you look into towards the TCO, total cost of ownership, then I would say Vega is not costly option.
Okay.
Reason is the Vega is having higher mileage compared to the general purpose inks available in the market,
Okay.
right? And it also provides a higher productivity. But in terms of the absolute rupees, it maybe it is higher, but it's not abnormally higher, but it is higher. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Got it. Mr. Murthy?
Yeah, Sriram, I see, we have launched this low migration inks, which is manufactured in our group companies in Europe.
Okay.
Which will be starting our indigenous manufacturing by the end of the year in India.
Okay.
Now, getting back to the cost of this product, basically availability of the raw materials to some levels, and also the production cost, because when you're following this low migration inks or DFC from Huber, I think the production cost of these products always goes high, because there's a lot of process we need to follow from the regular conventional inks, which makes this product to be a little bit higher than the regular conventional inks. And I think and also today the requirement of these products is not so much in demand in the country. Once the awareness of these products are being created in the market, I'm sure the product will become more and more viable for the consumers.
Got it. Makes sense. So there is also a follow-up question, an important one at that. What is the standard age of these sustainable inks?
For our case, it is 3 years.
Okay. The two of you?
It could be 2 years. It could be approximately averaged around 2 years here.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Faliith, there is a question for you. Is the water reactive ink reversible? That is, once the water dries, does the white mask appear again?
Yes, absolutely. I think that is what was shown in the slide where there was a video where we are first spraying water over it, and the right hand side image was the one where the image comes back once the water has evaporated. One thing one needs to take care is that it is reversible. However, the ink is not something that it's very easy to wipe it off. So you have to be extremely careful when you are drying it. Either you just have to dab a cloth or a piece of paper over it, or you just let it dry naturally. If you scrub it or rub it, it will come off. So that is something that needs to be taken care of. But otherwise, yes, it is reversible.
Thanks, Faliith. I also have a question for you. What is the type of R&D deployed by your team at PrintVision to create the kind of applications you showed us during your presentation?
So what we do is, this is something where we cheat a little bit. And I have a very good the source of customers who are equally excited as me to do something new. So when we find something new, we directly take it to them. And then we ask them how this could be incorporated into their next campaign, or what is it that they can do with it. Once that idea has been generated, then we start our due process of, which substrate it works better, which artworks need to be, worked upon, how it needs to be done. But it's relatively easy once you have a customer on board who wants to do it, so that the idea is theirs, the execution is ours.
Got it. Makes sense. So yes, I have a question from Shail Patel, the director of Gujarat Print Pack Publications, who will be presenting on day 4 of InkWeek. He asks, can the ink makers make features such as highlight fastness, chemical resistance, cuff resistance, etc., a standard feature? Let me repeat it again. Can the ink makers make features such as highlight fastness, chemical resistance, cuff resistance, etc., a standard feature? Right now, it is a separate grade of inks. Debda, can you answer this question?
That would be the dream for any converter. If they can have one standard ink which can have high light fastness, scuff resistance, and high print throw and gloss. I have been looking for that, and in reverse printing, of course, it never comes up because scuff is not an issue. In fact, you get the gloss from the plastic substrate which is on top. But in surface printing, in sheet fed, in printing of cartons and boxes, how to get an ink which definitely has these qualities, get it in volume and at the price at which you're getting the normal ink, that is the challenge. And I'll tell you why it is a challenge. There are which are transported in conditions where one carton rubs against the other. So even if before it reaches the shelf, there is a lot of rubbing between the cartons because they not necessarily have separators between them. So they're put in all, and there is a lot of rubbing, and that rubbing tends to make it look old. That is one. Secondly, products which are put in the fridge or in a cold chain, and those products also have not only the issue of water condensing on that, if they are also, there is ice formation or something like that, and they come in contact with that, again the scuff becomes a very important property. And I will tell you, for what we call the party packs of ice cream, that would be a very, very important consideration. So there are applications where it could be in a cold chain, or it could be rubbing against each other even otherwise, where these kinds of scuff and water resistance and gloss, persisting gloss in a high light atmosphere. For example, I'll tell you where you need this light resistance. If you are putting a consumer durable, a small consumer durable, or a medical device or something in a small carton or in a slightly larger carton, and you put it in the shop window to show passers-by that you have this particular product, and that sunlight is falling through the glass, on the carton, and for months together.
Got it.
And then you have displayed that in Jaipur in Rajasthan. You have all the ingredients of the carton fading out, and rather than displaying your product, you will actually produce the opposite effect in the mind of the customer who's passing by. So you have to be very careful, particularly if you are selling for consumer durables, because A, the product is heavy, the rubbing can be more, B, the shopkeeper may just put it in the sun, though there may be some glass or something in between. So one has to sort of imagine the end use situations. And that's why this range of properties are required. Whether ink manufacturers can incorporate all these properties in a single ink, or they will go on selling a range of inks, is a question.
Thank you, Devda. Also, there is a follow-up question for all the ink makers. Can you please define what is sustainable ink? The reason I'm asking this question is, if I have to tell a product manager or brand designer that I'm printing with sustainable inks, and the brand designer asks me what is sustainable inks, how do I explain it in one sentence? Any one of you can answer this.
This is, Raghav. So in my eyes, the sustainability inks, it means it is, recyclable, which can be recycled, which can be used the multiple, the component of the ink can be used in the multiple folds, right? So by eyes, this is the meaning of the sustainable. Okay.
Anyone else want to add on to that?
And just to add on to this, there are 2 points over here. One is CO2 emission is also, and other thing is the recyclable, as Doctor told us now. Actually we need to understand from the product manager or whatever it is, whether they are looking at the CO2 emissions or they are looking at a purely 100% recyclable inks. As we were talking about the 2 products during my initial speech, we have been talking about the biomass product, which is, biomass product is a product which reduces the CO2 emissions, right, when you're going for the ink segregation. Whereas biodegradable inks are 100% totally can be recyclable. So that is where all the ink manufacturers are working on the direction. And I'm sure with all we having the target with 2030 and 2050 in line, I think we all will be etching towards that one. Yeah.
Got it. Thanks.
Yeah.
During yesterday's session, the day one, Chandrakant Gadia of Marks Emballage said, can ink manufacturers a chain of training and ink mixing centers, start a chain of training and ink mixing centers in all major towns of India to train people in the science of color matching and ink mixing. CK also added, it can generate a large number of employment, as every printer needs to hire a trained personnel to manage inks, and also help the industry improve on wastage control, consistent quality, and better margins. Any company which can do this can change its game in the industry. This is what CK had to say. So your views.
From my side, in fact, it is already there. I mean, the last so many years, and we are one of the pioneers in that particular application. And we have more than 80 color matching systems spread across India. Some of the color matching centers located at directly printers end, some of the color matching facilities with our channel partners. So we are exactly doing in the same way as you mentioned in your question. So it's already there.
There is a follow-up question for you, Mr. Sarkar, from Amit Sharma. He wants to know, what are the external labs you have considered for migration testing?
There are few labs already available. One is ESEGA is there.
Okay.
And second is SQTS is also there. That is located in Switzerland. And they are relatively faster.
Okay.
So you can do the testing of your product in these 2 labs. And besides this, we also have a very sophisticated lab in-house. So the first testing we do in-house, and only for the certification purpose, because many customers in India and outside, they need the third-party certification. So because of that, actually, we need to send it outside. But otherwise, we have complete setup in-house and dedicated facility, the high performance liquid chromatography, GCMS, the fluorescent, X-ray, everything we have in-house. And there we evaluate all the basic things of migration with different food simulant.
Thank you, Prashanta. There is a question from Pune-based Sahil Rao, who will be presenting on our day 4 again. He said, I think the ink industry is innovating a lot anyways, but in addition, if we can see more applications of metallized or specialty inks on a sheet-fed offset non-UV press, it'll be terrific. Any developments on this front? He's wanting to know if we can see more applications of metallized or specialty inks on a sheet-fed offset, which is non-UV press. Is there any development, gentlemen?
Sorry, can you specify the question? Since there are the inks available, metallic inks available for non-UV segments. So what is the real question actually?
He's wanting to know more applications of these metallized or specialty inks on a sheet fed in a non-UV press. Is there any applications, any development?
Yes, offset, there is a complete range for the offset.
Exactly.
Application available in the, metallic range. Yeah.
Okay.
You have that.
It's already there. I mean, the different varieties, the leafing and the non-leafing grade, both are available. Yeah. So complete range is available with any printing and manufacturing company in India. So it's
interesting.
It's
I think
already there.
Sahil,
if you have any specific requirement, please let us know. Yeah.
Sure. I'm sure Sahil would, and I'm sure he must be excited to hear this answer as well.
Sorry. So just to one question which I've been asking about the color matching centers throughout this one, right?
Yes,
I want to add something what Prasanta Sarkar has told, and yes, we do ink manufacturers have our own ink kitchens at and the color matching centers across with many big printers, converters, and also with some of our channel partners. Here, I fully agree to his point what Mr. Abhilash has told us. Yes, it is important for us to develop talent at the lower level, right? At the lower level, because today it's very important for us to retain the talent also. Because ink industry and color matching is such an industry where the people doesn't get attracted so fast. But today it is moving from a general method to a scientific way of doing the color matching. So here, I think I fully agree with him. Is not just focusing only on the ink kitchen or the ink color matching centers with the big converters. It is very important that we go to the city by city by some concept. We do this. It will always definitely help the industry as well as also to give the knowledge sharing. Today we see the knowledge sharing is still not there with the end printers.
Agreed. Thanks, Mr. Murthy. In fact, I have a question for you from Zainul Lakdawala. He wants to know, do you use polymeric PI for your low migration UV inks for food packaging? And if yes, can you name these PIs or photo initiators?
Yeah, definitely we are using this type of polymeric photo initiators for our low migration inks. But however, these are something, selection of the raw materials, and it comes a little bit on internal trade secrets of our company also, and also according to our requirements. I understand there are various types of photo initiators are being used for this type of low migration UV. Yeah.
Sure. Thanks. Zainul sir also has another question, this time for Dr. Raghav. He wants to know what is the lowest energy required for UV inks in terms of millijoules per square centimeter. Dr. Raghav?
It's a very tricky questions actually, but in terms of the millijoules, since he asked very precisely, so in terms of the millijoule, I would say for the ink, I think 120 to 135 millijoule is enough to cure the inks, and for coating it's 100 to 120 is enough.
Okay. Thank you. One final question from AS Corporation. If someone is using mineral-free ink, will this serve the purpose in terms of safe printing packaging? Or apart from ink, chemical and substrate, chemicals and substrate should also be VOC-free? Dr. Raghav or Mr. Sarkar can answer this question.
Dr. Raghav, you will try?
Yeah, can I take this question? Yes. Yeah. Since there are the two, safe packaging, food safety. So there are the two aspects involved here, right? What is the end use requirement, whether we are looking for the low migration things where the migration or migration optimizing. In that case, definitely virgin board is needed. And also the ink selection should be migration optimized or low migration inks. For, for the MO free inks, mineral oil free inks, the risk of migration minimize at least 80 times. I would not say the 100%, but at least the 80% migration risk minimize printing on any of the board, right? So it is always better for the food safe packaging, use the virgin board. Yeah, Mr. Sarkar, you may also.
Yeah, I agree with you because ink is one of the components of the packaging development. So the contamination may also come from the potential areas like the paper board, because many times the recycled board where it may be sourced from the newspaper industry and which is predominantly mineral oil based, and if the pulp is used as a recycled pulp, there is a high possibility that the board that you are using for food packaging is already contaminated. So that is one thing. Second thing is all the consumables other than the ink and the paper board. There are varnishes, there are the cleaners, there are even the grease or the oil that you are using on the machine that can also contaminate the packaging product, and ultimately it will lead to the non-compliances. So all the consumables, and that is what actually I mentioned in the plastic regulation and GMP regulation, but this covers all this the different possibilities. And ultimately, if the packaging material needs to be conformed to the low migration, then everything will contribute. So there is also a overall migration limit for packaging material, and there all the different components will also contribute to that. So only by selecting the low migration ink, and if you don't follow the GMP, there is no point actually.
Okay.
Yeah,
makes sense. Again, thank you all of you. There are many more questions, but we will share with all of you later, and we can get your answers and we can share it with the relevant.
Sriram, just can I mention one point?
Sure, please.
There was a question on knowledge of color, etc.
Yeah.
Training in that's very important.
Okay.
But I just wanted to share one concept, that is the latest concept in color management, which is the most scientific concept because it is based on the frequencies of light, and all color is light. Okay, so it is spectral matching. If you want an exact color match, it must match range of spectrum to range of spectrum in frequency and in amplitude.
Okay.
Then you get a dead match.
Okay.
For a given substrate in a given lighting condition, you will get a dead match. Spectral matching. That is the latest scientific way of doing it.
That Debda has his last word. It's been more than 2 hours. It took me back to my engineering classroom days. Thank you, all of you. Let me first thank Debabrata Deb for his opening address. I thank all our presenters and thank our delegates. If you thought the sessions were useful, please spread the word among your friends and colleagues in the industry. I thank Shaman Alexander, our young digital editor, and our editor from Kerala, Altrin Vijay, for tweeting live, plus posting on LinkedIn and all social media platforms. I thank Naveen Grover and Nazir Mullah and their 5th floor IT gang for all the tech support. I thank our partners, Zigwork and Huber India. See you tomorrow for day 3 of InkWeek. It's all about innovations and ideas. Noel Dikuna, the managing editor of Print Week and What Packaging magazines, and Sudhanva Jategaonkar, who have curated all 5 days, have put together a brilliant day 3 session for you. We have a keynote address from Chakravarti AVPS of EcoBliss India. The plenary talk is by Lester Pinto, Managing Director, Albia India, after which we have 5 unique ink presentations. Jatin Thakkar, Head PSR, Seagwork India will talk about the innovations with sustainability. Gaurav Sataye, Director, United Ink, will present the magic of inks. Akhil Contractor, Director, Print Dynamics, has done R&D and created more than 100 ink products during the pandemic months. He will share the methods in his madness. And Raghav Sridharan, who's also the president of the formidable All India Ink Association plus managing director of Pico Printing Inks, will talk about unique applications which most printers have never heard of. And finally, Rajesh Gandhi, Vice President, Fujifilm Sericol, will present the behind-the-scene R&D at the Pune Ink Factory. Please be present. Please spread the good word. It's my favorite most day of all the 5 days. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Murthy sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks all.